Right, welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be demoing, I guess, showing for the first time sort of the batter and pitcher interaction for a game I'm codenaming Precision Baseball. I don't know that that will be the last name of it, but I'm just thinking about a game that can be as close to sort of statistically accurate as I can possibly get. And I'm using 3D10s. If you've seen the sort of the introduction to what the game was before and what it is now, you'll notice that the cards look a little bit different. We have pitcher cards now, a couple of pitcher cards. Also have some reliever cards. You can see here, it's just the Braves, only have the one team done so far. But there's a little bit of interaction there. I don't know that this will be the final card size, but I do like just printing them all on one sheet like this. It's kind of nice. But they're a little bit on the small side. Maybe need to elongate them just a little bit. Right now we have the last 3 innings of Atlanta at Arizona. This is from 2022. And I don't know, somewhere in the season the Braves went on a West Coast trip, and this is that game. I'm obviously starting Spencer Strider, who was the actual starter, but for the home team I'm starting Max Fried. At this point it is 3-3. In the last inning, Josh Rojas hit a 2-run homer, so Varsho got on with a single, and then Rojas with the 2-run homer off of Spencer Strider. Strider had been just mowing down the I want to say the Cardinals. It's not the Cardinals, it's the Diamondbacks. So they've been mowing them down. But just a little bit about the mechanic. So 3D10s. Red, white, and blue is easy to remember, especially for Americans. Those are our country colors. So you just read them red, white, and blue, but you could read it any combination of colors. You just need 100s, 110s, and 1 So you just got to read them that way each time. And then also have sort of a decide or die. So it's a 50-50 game. So 1-3 is the batter, 4-6 is the pitcher. So you just kind of roll all those things together. and then you look off the appropriate card. At this point it's pretty easy. So we got the Braves are up in this inning. It'll be Albies, Duvall, and Michael Harris the second. Albies is 0 for 2. Duvall hit a double, and then Harris accounted for one of the runs back in the third, so this run here. 3-3 is our scores we head to the last 3 innings. I'm just keeping both pitchers in for the whole time. That way I can do a comparison of per 9, so strikeouts per 9, walks per 9, etc. Here, this goes to the batter card. So it's going to be Albies. Albies is here. And so we're looking at red, white, and blue, right? So 5-5-0. 5-5-0 falls in the K range. So Fried gets the strikeout of Albies. That's his second strikeout as a batter. I don't know what the best place to roll this is, but a 1 goes to Duvall, and a 993, that's going to be a jack for Adam Duvall, as he gets a hold of one and he drives it deep into left field, and that's a go-ahead home run for the Braves. This one goes to Fried, and that's going to be a 0-0-1, which is a ground out. You can see here it's in his ground out range. Harris grounds out for out number 2. Back to Fried. A 932 is going to be off the hits. So 798 to 1,000 is a hit. And then when there's a hit, we have to look at the batter. It's going to be Acuna here. And we're going to roll off of this hits. You can see this hits box here. Try to make that a little bit more pronounced. So a 798 is going to be a double for Ronald Acuna. And that's a runner at second base with 2 outs. Single will score the run. We got Dansby Swanson, and a 776 is going to be a single. And so that's a run scoring single for Dansby Swanson as he drives it into left field. Acuna comes around to score. It's now 5 5-3. This goes back to Fried. 744 is going to be in the walk column, so Fried with a rough 7th inning here. Runners now at first and second with 2 down, and Austin Riley to the plate. A 5:59 is going to be a strikeout, so Fried shuts down the inning with the 3rd out of the inning, but not before he gives up 2 runs, and the Braves take the 5-2 lead. So we head to the bottom of the 7th. It's going to be Smith, McCarthy, and Thomas. I have my players here. You can see under here I have the year and the team name, but also the team color, which is hard to tell between the two, but it is different. This one's going to go to Strider, and a 115 is going to be a ground out for out number 1. So they made contact, which is good. They haven't made a lot of contact. Back to Strider, 33 is going to be another ground out. And this time it goes to the batter. It's going to be Alec Thomas. 879 is going to be a base hit. So a runner at first base with 2 outs brings up Perdomo. A 944 is going to be a hit. So let's check off of Perdomo's card. He's here. A 554 is going to be a base knock, so that's going to send the runner to 3rd base, as I like to give everybody an extra base with 2 outs. So runners on the corners with 2 down, and it is Herrera. Herrera's the only one on a different sheet, so it's here. So that goes to him, and that is a 204. 204 is going to be a ground out. That'll be the 3rd out of the inning. As Spencer Strider dances around a couple of 2-out singles, doesn't give up any runs, and we head to the 8th inning. The Braves are up 5-3 in this one, and it'll be Olsen, Darno, and Albies. So Olsen is here. A 135 is going to be a ground out. And we have Travis Darno up. Darno is 2 for 3. He struck out in his last at bat, but he's got a couple of singles. 744, another base hit maybe? Yep. So 3 for 4 on the day for Travis Darno. Brings up Ozzie Albies. This could be a big fly, 936. 936 is going to be a double for Albies. And that's going to push the runner to 3rd base. We got 2nd and 3rd with 1 out now. And Adam Duvall. This will go to Fried. A 0-0-1 or a 0-1-0 is going to be a ground out. And we'll just have the runners hold at this point. Try to keep the game close. I don't have any base running rules or anything set up yet. Once I get speed and some other sort of fielding and base running values in here, it would be easier to create that. We have a 619, and that goes to Fried. 619 is going to be a strikeout. That's out number 3. So the Braves strand 2, and we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. It'll be the top of the order: Varsho, Rojas, and Marte. And this goes to Spencer Strider. A 351 is going to be a line out for Varsho. And really it's a line drive out, not necessarily a line out to, one of the infielders or something. Could be a line drive out to the center fielder, This one goes to Strider. 909 is going to be another hit, so we got to look off of the Rojas card. Rojas with 1 homer already, so 569 is here. That's going to be a base hit. So with 1 out, Josh Rojas is at first base. He's actually got 2 home runs. He's 3 for 4 on the day. And this will go to the batter. That's going to be Ketel Marte. 819 is going to be a single. So runners at first and second now with one out. Spencer Strider to the plate. This is a 632. 632 is in his K range. And he has a huge K range, so from basically 36 to 74. So what is that? Almost 40% was his K percentage. So 30 something percent K percentage. This has got like 300 numbers or 350 numbers that are going to lead to a K. That's why all these strikeouts are here. So it's going to be 2 down with 2 on, and let's see if they can come up with a big hit. It's going to be Pavin Smith, and that is a 003, which is going to be good for a ground out. And they strand 2 more, and we go to the top of the 9th inning. Braves are ahead 5 to 3. Sorry. And we got one going to Max Fried. To me, the top of the order with Acuna, Swanson, and Ozuna. Fried, a 325 is going to be a flyout. You can see here in the range, that'll be a flyout. Hopefully you can see that. Don't know if you actually can or not. It's close enough. Back to Fried. 486 is going to be a line drive out. So 2 quick ones for the lefty, and he's completing his 9th inning here. This is going to be Ozuna. Ozuna with an 876. That's going to be a base knock. So 2-out single for Marcel. And Austin Riley to the plate. We go back to Fried, and that's going to be a 007, which is a ground out. So Riley grounds out to end the Braves' day, and that's going to be, well, I guess barring any heroics in the bottom of the 9th inning. And that's going to be it for the Braves in the 9th. This is the bottom of the 9th. It's going to be McCarthy, Thomas, and Perdomo. So McCarthy, Jake McCarthy, he's got a 131. That'll be a ground out. So you can see the game plays pretty quickly, and not a lot of math going on here. We got Spencer Strider, a 409. That's going to be another strikeout. And last chance here. This is Perdomo, Geraldo Perdomo, and that will be a 663. 663 is going to be a K, so he ends the day with a strikeout. And that will be your ball game. So the Braves win this one 5 to 3 over the D-backs. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hits. No errors. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hits for Arizona. And let me tally up these pitcher totals real fast, and then I'll come right back. Alright, so we have our totals. For Strider, it's 9 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, 15 Ks and no walks. Pretty impressive. He did hit a batter. And then for Fried, it's 12 hits, 5 runs on 12 hits, 8 Ks, and 1 strikeout. 1 walk. 1 walk. So walks seem a little bit light. We'll see how that plays out a little bit over time, because these are two, top of the line pitchers who did a lot more striking out than they did walking people. So maybe it would be different if we had maybe Charlie Morton. Yeah, I'm not sure who. Oh, maybe Jake Odorizzi. Maybe if we had a Jake Odorizzi sighting. Obviously 798 starts his hits. He's at 740. So that's definitely going to be, he's going to give up more hits. 847 for Strider, who just didn't give up any hits. He mostly struck people out and, you know, probably gave up bombs. His strikeouts are not so great, but had a lot of, well, I guess not a lot of ground outs. About the same as Strider, but Freed with 258, 1 to 258. So 25% of his outs were ground outs. So maybe if we went with some of these, maybe Ian Anderson. He didn't have a great year. He walked quite a few people. He's got almost 100 opportunities there, 10% walk rate. So maybe if we looked at some of these others who had a little bit higher walk rate, we would see that. And quite honestly, the Braves struck out a lot more than they walked last year. So a lot of these guys, you know, Swanson's only got a 9%, or Riley 9%. Dansby, Swanson, what is that, 7%. 11% walk rate for Olsen. So these guys weren't exactly walking machines. They were swinging. All right, so this is the game. So again, you rolled 3 D10 dice plus 1 D6. The D6 just decides between batter and pitcher, and then the 3 D10s, whatever card you're looking at, you just use one for, I was using red, white, and blue, like this. So hundreds, tens, and ones, and then you just put those together. You read off the card, and that's going to be your outcome. If you have a hit off of a pitcher, which is one of the things that we can count as hits, but we don't have specifically how many singles, doubles, triples, and home runs that each pitcher gave up. So we have this little hitter's box over here. So if he's facing Rojas and he has a hit, then we go roll again. Just the three dice here. We can roll again. Maybe there's a way to incorporate this D6 as well for directional purposes, or maybe even I'm thinking about doing some things, some sort of advanced fielding type stuff with hard hit balls, or normal, hard, medium, that type of thing. So maybe we can use this D6 and you just roll all 4 again, and then you compare that to this, and then this will be something that affects the type of hit. I'm thinking splitting the field up into zones, and whatever zone you hit it to, maybe there's a distance that you've hit the ball, and then power hitters will get an extra 10 feet or something like that, so that they, you know, they hit a deep fly ball. But a deep fly ball for a power hitter, you know, their power is going to add an extra 10 or 15 or 20 feet. And so maybe something like that that's a little bit more complicated or complex. And I'll also have just sort of a basic version where, you know, you roll this and it goes to a chart, and the chart has, you know, where the ball goes or something like that. Just things I'm thinking about. So I'm kind of try to take it piece by piece. So I have the batters set up mostly like I want to do some base running and fielding and stuff like that. But once I have batters and pitchers kind of settled out, I'll have some special attributes here for pitchers as well. Stamina, some special, if they have like a higher than average K rating or higher than average walk rating, that's going to somehow affect everything. Left-right splits. I'm hoping to just major on lefty-lefty matchups, because that seems to be what most where a lot of the advantage is in left-handed against left-handed, and where you would really need to do the any kind of strategy for those things. So just a lot of things going through my head right now, but it's definitely playable at this point with some basic base running rules. You know, you go as far as the hit allows you until you get to 2 outs, and then you get an extra base on that. So those are just sort of my standard common base running rules that I do. And, you know, on a ground out, I've just been doing a fielder's choice each time and kind of taking each situation per the situation. But one of the things that really excites me is that I have 1,000 chances for each one of these. So if there's a ground out and I don't want to just call it a ground out. I can roll again, and I have 1,000 opportunities for 1,000 different plays. So literally, if something happens 1 out of every 1,000 plays, 0.001%, then I'm able to roll these dice and possibly hit that 1 in 1,000 opportunity. So that could be anything from a triple play to I don't know, whatever you can think of, as far as opportunities for rare plays, opportunities for kind of mixing up common plays in there, mixing up semi-common plays. So I'm gonna need the community's help on that. I think I'm gonna come up with some obviously the common plays, grounder to short, grounder to each base, or tapper out in front of the plate, or whatever it is, and then we'll have an opportunity to sort of put those in the context of some more rare plays. And so maybe maybe the community can help me come up with some. I'll put a spreadsheet or something out there on Google Sheets, and then anybody who goes to it can just type in and edit and add your own, hey, I'd love to see this kind of ground out or this ground ball play or whatever. And then you can just describe it, and then we can put that in the game. That would be a lot of fun. Same thing with fly outs or line outs. There's lots of different types of line outs, or if the situation warrants it, how do you deal with base runners? And so there's going to be a lot of detail to this game if you want to add the detail. If not, you could just sort of stop at these numbers. So you just are okay with putting a ground out or a fly out like this. It's going to go super fast. If you want more detail, you'll be able to get more detail. And then from that detail, if you want to go even deeper, I think there's going to be even another layer after that, where you can go into sort of a deeper layer. So we'll see how that all turns out. And right now it's pretty good. Like I said, I have these broken out into, and these are from, you ask maybe, how did I get these numbers? These are actual statistics. So I actually took their their outs. So Rojas, these are non whatever these are not, that's what these are. So I've added all these things together, and then the rest is here. So 46%. So basically you put a decimal there. So 46% of his plate appearances ended in a ground out, fly out, or line out. For Jordan Luplow, it's 46.9. For Hummel, it's 40.7 of his ended in one of these three outcomes. And then the rest of these outcomes are sort of whatever is left. So 54%, or 53.9, I guess, is all of these other outcomes. So strikeouts, walks, hit by pitch. And these are per plate appearance. So if 1,000 is the whole number 1, then these are all fractions of a plate appearance. So that gives us our opportunities per plate appearance. And then I can convert those into a roll, because I can convert those percentages straight into a 1 to 1,000 roll. And then I can kind of just input the stats on one side of the spreadsheet, and then the other side of the spreadsheet does all the formulas and calculations, and then even can spit out these roll numbers. There's a little bit of massaging that has to happen, obviously. Like this one comes out 977-977, so there's a little bit of massaging that I have to go, and especially with players who don't play a lot, or with players like this, he didn't have a hit by pitch, so I have to eliminate that. So basically, he won't get hit by a pitch from his batter card, but he could possibly get hit by a pitch from the batter's side or from the pitcher's side. So you're thinking, oh, well, some of these, it is true that some people are not going to hit a triple, but he didn't have any triples during the season. So I guess you could give him an opportunity, and maybe he could hit a triple off of some sort of rare play chart or something like that. But it would definitely truly be a rare play for Matt Olson to hit a triple, but he's hit, I don't know, a couple this year. So year to year, it's going to be a little bit different. And so that's how I got here. And then here is, I took the total number from for singles, doubles, triples, and home runs. And then I just broke those out into his actual percentages of each of those. So he has a certain number of singles per at bat, certain number of doubles per at bat, and then I just put that on the scale of just these four. So all these four equal 1,000, and then 70% of his hits have gone for singles, and 21% of his hits have gone for doubles, and looks like only 1%, less than 1% of his hits went for triples, and then he's got 7.5% of his hits were for home runs. So we sort of put those hits all together and then distribute those hits based off of his actual hit distribution. So I actually combined those. I took his hits and I said how many singles per hit does he have, and then that gives me this sort of 70%. So you find out what percentage of the whole total number of hits, and then you sort of break that down into something a little bit smaller, and so you break it down into each individual type of hit. So there's some calculations that go on here. It's actually not very difficult math. You're just trying to figure out how many of this total are this. There's sort of a big total of plate appearances, and then you have a smaller total of outs that are not included in this list here. And then you have, what is this K percentage? For pitchers, it's a little easier. It's just straight K percentages. K percentage is strikeouts divided by plate appearances. So some of the work is already done for you with walks and strikeouts. Their K percentage and their walk percentages already figured. It's strikeouts per plate appearance. So some things are already figured, and then some other things I just have to do. It's just a basic division formula in a spreadsheet. So whatever divided by whatever. And that makes it pretty easy. For these, I have to sort of figure out how many outs. So 50% of his plate appearances were a ground out, fly out, or a line out. And the same thing here. So only 36% of Strider's plate appearances ended in some sort of batted ball out. And I get these percentages from each batter and pitcher on Fangraphs has a ground ball percentage, fly ball percentage, and line out or a line drive percentage. So I've taken those percentages and then I've distributed that percentage through the outs, which may not be exactly because they're counting ground balls that got through for a hit as a part of their ground ball percentage, but I think it's probably going to be because they don't divide it out into, well, maybe there's a splits, some sort of thing that I can do to find out outs and then ground balls per out. But I'm not prepared to go that far. I think that this is going to get us pretty close to what we want to do. You can definitely see that Fried has a almost 26% ground ball percentage, which is very much in line with him. And he's definitely a ground ball pitcher when he's on. So that's a little bit of the math behind it. That's a little bit of the thinking behind it. Like I said, each card has a little bit different color here, color band. And then obviously I haven't gone through and done all of the positions or anything like that, but I don't think for either of these teams I've done the positions, but normally I have their position here. Their primary position will be listed just like this. It'll be listed here. So things are coming along. It's easy to read. These are actually pretty big numbers, and maybe I can just make these cards a little bit taller and a little easier to handle. If you think the cards are perfect as they are, let me know. I did have to trim off maybe the width of this pen off of the edge, so it went out just a little bit farther, and didn't do any trimming or cutting up here. Obviously there's a little gap on that side, and maybe I had to cut off a little bit from the bottom, but not much. So the cards almost completely fit on the sheet of paper. This is 8.5 by 11. I like to set everything up beforehand so that when you print it, all you have to do is just cut and go. And I like to keep the cards right next to each other. It makes it easy to cut them. So the game is coming along just fine. And I get derailed and sidetracked. This is actually from something called Quick Pitch Baseball. Very similar. This is where Quick Pitch started, and then I veered off into some space, and then did it only everything comes off of the pitcher card, and then the batter is just totally reactive. He has no control of the at bat. So I veered off into that space at some point with Quick Pitch, which makes for a super interesting game, more based on pitching and defense and managing your pitching a little differently. But this 50-50 is actually where that game started. So this is actually kind of going back to the beginning, where Quick Pitch started, and getting a true 50-50 type of game, because I was really looking for a game that I could try to make as accurately as possible. And if you bundle the pitcher into his own little bubble, you can kind of get close to his statistics. If you bundle the batter into his own little bubble, you can get pretty close. Now, where those two interact and the fact that each affects the other is going to have some effect on their final statistics, so it won't be exact. But I think that even the back and forth between the two, or facing different types of pitchers, is going to get you pretty close to their actual numbers, just because there are only two options. So there's a back and forth between the pitcher and the batter that is going to sort of even itself out in a lot of ways, because pitchers are going to get strikeouts and batters are going to get hits off of pitchers, and I think there's going to be sort of a balancing out, and I won't have to actually balance out their cards. I think it will actually balance itself out in real life. You can see it's just a totally realistic type of game. I didn't bring any different kind of pitchers, but I could, and I think that the game plays just fine as it is right now. Cards seem easy to read. Everything component-wise seems like it's working okay. I actually did all of the batters for the Major League Baseball in 2022, so I'll work on the pitchers too. I just want to make sure everything was going to come out okay whenever I actually played. So you got to see the last 3 innings. 2-0 was a score here in the last 3 innings, but quite a bit of scoring happened early on. We had Rojas with a solo home run, and then he had a 2-run jack in the 6th. They had a threat here in the 7th inning. Couldn't quite bring anyone around. Same thing in the 8th. So Arizona had their chances, but got shut down by Strider. And then solo homer from Olsen in the 2nd. Harris the 2nd in the 3rd. We had a double by Duvall, and then he was brought around with a 2-out single from Acuna. And then in the 7th inning, which you saw here, had a home run, solo homer from Duvall. Acuna followed with a double, and then another 2-out single from Dansby Swanson brought home that run. We had a threat here with 1 out, runners on the corners, and just couldn't bring them home. And then, maybe this would have resulted in an out had we had like proper base running sort of situations in place, and then nothing in the 9th inning. So you feel sort of the tension, right, of the inning. Sometimes it's just explosive. Sometimes I get worried that all the runs are going to come off of home runs, which happens a lot in modern baseball. But also, it's good to see, some generated innings here where you get 2 or 3 hits in the inning, and it's a double and then a single driving them in, and it's good to see that kind of thing in your game, because that's real life baseball. But also it's good to know that home runs are going to come and stuff like that. So I feel like there's a pretty good mix here. It's going to be hard to hit a triple, but it's not going to be impossible. You just don't see those very much anymore in baseball. And I think all of these numbers are going to be able to play throughout history. So there's nothing here that I'm using or doing that can't be calculated all the way back to the beginning of time, even if they choose not to calculate K percentage or walk percentage for forever, which I don't think they wouldn't, because it's just based off of counting stats. It's just a formula based off of counting stats, and they keep plate appearances for the history of baseball. So it's good to tie it to those sorts of things. But I think some of the base running, I'm going to have to look for, and fielding, I'm going to have to look for some things that are more in line with historical numbers. So we'll see what I can pull and do for fielding. And it could be that it's just a little bit more complicated fielding system, which will allow for more people, more players to be able to participate throughout history. It doesn't take a super long time to make these. Just in the last couple of days, I've gotten this far with one pitching team and then every batter in Major League Baseball. So it doesn't take a long time, but there is a little bit of sort of kind of work that goes through. I can do a little bit of find and replace and stuff like that, but it's just a lot of kind of review, and I'm sure I miss some along the way, where when the left side number is higher than the right side number, then you just have to find that, and then you have to re-reference. You have to kind of skip that position, and you have to, like, if that's what happened here, this guy had no triples, then I need to make the reference go from 964 to 965. And so it has to like skip over that one because it's set up to just look at the one before. So once I erase one, I have to like skip over and make it reference the one before the one before. So there's a little bit of manual labor that goes into it, but it's not super difficult. And I have a lot of this coloring and stuff like that. It's conditional formatting. So once it gets put into the spreadsheet, it's reading this and then providing conditional formatting for those things. So not particularly difficult to do those things. And even, I can make these the text different colors or backgrounds or whatever. So a lot of things I've tried to automate as much as possible just to be able to produce these seasons. And I'm getting better at using Excel. So I use Google Sheets, but I'm getting better at spreadsheet usage over the years. And that's actually helping quite a bit with automating some different things. I've also had a lot of help from the community to be able to create formulas. Like I can go through and I can make this one card, copy it across, copy all four, copy down several times, and then take a big swath and just copy them. And I can copy and paste, and it'll go through my spreadsheet and lay out the cards exactly. So that was a huge help. I was having to do that individually, or do a lot of find and replace. It was taking forever. So I'm very, very grateful for the user who helped me to automate my spreadsheets a lot more. So that's a huge help. And then I can just take the data dump it into my spreadsheet, use that database, and then produce the cards out of that on a different sheet. So it's my spreadsheet usage has gone up, but also my understanding of how they work and what I can use to help them has gone up. So that's probably TLDR. I don't know, maybe, but it's sort of behind the scenes of how these things work and how I'm putting them together. And I just want to be able to have a couple of teams here to actually play. So hopefully that's interesting to you. If you have any questions or comments, you can obviously leave them down in the comments section below, and I'll get to them as quickly as I can. If this is of interest to you, just let me know. Give the video a thumbs up. That's a super easy way to do it. And I'll know that, hey, you like this content. You like what I'm doing here. And eventually I will finish it and it'll be a game. I mean, I've already done quick pitch baseball, which is its own sort of standalone game that you can go to quickpitchgame.com and you can actually download. I have 3 seasons, 75, 82, and 86. So if you're into those 70s and 80s seasons, those are some 3 of the best seasons. And you can go to Quick Pitch Game and download every player who played. This one I've capped the batters at, did I cap it at 50? I can't remember. I usually cap it at 30 plate appearances. Maybe that's what I did. Excuse me, that's what I did here. And then I haven't capped the pitchers yet. Actually, I did. I capped the pitchers at 10 innings. So if they didn't have at least 10 innings, they didn't make it into the list. If they didn't have at least 30 plate appearances, they didn't make it into the list. But you do. You can see here, you know, you've got, who do I have? Even some of these guys. I got Corbin Carroll here. Nick Ahmed. You know, I don't know who these guys are. Jake Hager, Stone Garrett. If you're a Diamondback fan, maybe you know who these guys. I don't know who these guys are or how many games they got into. But these are sort of your main line players. You know, Travis Demerit got into a handful of games last year. Vaughn Grissom even is listed on here. And these are listed by plate appearance. So this would be the end. This will be the last of it, is Travis Demerit, because it starts here. So Olsen had the most plate appearances. Demerit had the least. And then, you know, even Robbie Grossman got in toward the end of the year. Vaughn Grissom was playing at the end of the year. Arcia played quite a few games because Albies messed up his hand. So he played quite a bit. Eddie Rosario, who came in at the end of the year. And then these guys were basically starters. Duvall got hurt halfway through. And so Rosario, I think, had to play a lot more. Grossman played more. And then for the pitcher side, you have all these pitchers, but then, you know, even Kyle Muller, who just came in, he made, I don't know, 2 or 3 starts, something like that, before they traded him. And then Tucker Davidson, same thing. He made a few starts before they traded him. Darren O'Day came back from injury, so he didn't pitch a lot. Will Smith had a terrible year, so I think they traded him to Houston or something eventually. Tyler Matzek got hurt. Dylan Lee pitched a lot, and Iglesias was pitching a little bit more at the end of the year. And then all these other guys, you know, Mentor, Jesse Chavez pitched a lot. Charlie Morton, Kenley Jansen was a Brave last year. Had a lot of saves. Colin McHugh pitched quite a bit. Even Bryce Elder, who's had a breakout year this year. He's in here. He got some starts. Ian Anderson before he got sent down and then hurt. Eventually, he got some starts. Jackson Stevens, before he got injured, was pitching quite a bit. And then Kyle Wright, 20-game winner, is here as well. And one thing I kicked around is for the backside, leaving space for a picture and then some statistics for each player. So I'll probably elongate the cards maybe just a little bit, and then have this bottom section be statistics, because I have the stats in the spreadsheet. I'm using them to generate all these chances and rolls and stuff. So I'll put the stats down here, and then maybe an opportunity if you want to input a picture. You could put a picture of your favorite team or whatever, and then that way, you know, on one side you could be choosing your players, and then when you go to actually play the game, you know, you play off the other side. So maybe something for me to consider as this goes along, like how to set up the cards and what will make them pop and make them nice. Because when I made these cards for triple threat basketball, it would be something similar to this. Not as tall, I don't think, but you know, you would have their stats basically down here, and then have some space up here for an image. So maybe down to here, something like that. So maybe just make it a little bit taller, and then you have space for an image, and you can have their statistics on there. That way you can decide your lineups and stuff like that based on their stats. and then have a nice little photo. I've thought about doing just all stars and putting photos on there. I don't actually have the ability to, I don't have any license for photographs. So all that photo of Curry that I showed you is just one I pulled off the internet. I could never sell that card because I don't have access or rights to sell that card, but I can provide photos for free. So it's kind of a free download and an extra if you want to add that on. So you do something like that maybe for the All-Stars. That way you'll have the All-Star players and you'll be able to see who the All-Stars are and that kind of thing. So I thought about that because baseball has so many players, you know, just trying to find photos and go through and do that for all of the players, just for my team that I like, you know, would be a bit of a process because then you'd have to crop them to the right size and stuff like that. So it would be an exercise. I know a lot of people take time to do that, and if you really like it and you're really setting up a card set, that might be something you're interested in. But providing those photos to just add on to the All-Star player cards might be something kind of cool. Thoughts that are just going through my head all the time about what I can do. Some of these thoughts I want to do for other games, but it just doesn't work. So I kind of shelve them or write them down, and I keep them in my head. And you know, one day if the right game comes along, maybe we can do that sort of thing. So this is I'm giving it the code name Precision Baseball. That's not a great name. It's not. It's just it's descriptive for what I was just trying to do. But that's really all. It's just descriptive. It's not a good name, I don't think. So I'll have to come up with a better name for the game. Something a little bit more exciting or catchy. Yeah. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. This channel is going to switch over to the Clark and Addison Gaming Company. This game would come out under that umbrella name of the Clark and Addison Gaming Company. And that's going to be sort of the future of everything, future of this channel, future of all the games that I have. That'll be sort of the imprint. And as it comes out and is released, it will be its own branded game name, but it'll be under that sort of umbrella company. It'll be on one particular website. So I think that's it. I appreciate everybody's support, and I'll get something out there for people to try pretty quick, and then you can just kind of roll it. The cool part about this, I think, is you could eliminate the pitchers and only roll off of the batters. Or vice versa, you could potentially limit, just roll off of the pitchers, and we can create a generic hits based off of just the league average, I guess, if you wanted to do something like that. Because we don't have these broken down for each pitcher. But you could do the league average, or even the major league average, or you could break it down by American League, National League, that kind of thing. And it's not hard to do this. You just take the total number of hits, and then you divide each of these by the total number of hits. So you divide singles by hits, doubles by hits, triples by hits, and then out of 1,000, you basically are saying 1,000 times whatever that percentage that you got of singles to hits, whatever that percentage is. So let's say it's it usually hovers around, I would think something like 40 to 50% of hits are going to be singles. What are they here? So 60 to 58%. So these are all hovering around somewhere around 60%. So I would think a lot of the league average is going to be 60 to 65%, something like that. So that 65% or 0.65 times 1,000 will give you a percentage. You know, it might be like this guy's 58.4%. And then basically we're just saying 1 to 584, because 584 out of 1,000 is 58.4%. So 1 out of 584 is going to be a single. And then you would just do that for each of these. You start the next one, 584 plus whatever the next calculation is going to give you this second number. And then you just do the next number up to that number. So that's sort of how I've done these rolls. And I have a formula that does all that for me. But, you know, just being able to figure those percentages on you just write them on a piece of scratch paper and use it, and only roll off of the picture cards, which is kind of unique. There wouldn't be any interaction if you didn't want to, and it would definitely make everything go faster, because then you don't have to look up a second card or that type of, or look between them. So that's definitely something that would be possible if you didn't want any sort of interaction. You just wanted to play off of the batter cards. That would be totally doable, I think, because we're going to have some base running and stuff like that off of these. And then the pitcher attributes are going to be really things that only affect the pitcher. Or maybe you just want to, maybe you'll only want key pitchers to be able to decide any part of the at bat. Let's say, you would want these two starters to have a say in the game, but once they come out and you get, say, a Minter and a Jesse Chavez, you don't really want the pitchers to be a part of the game, so you just eliminate them and then go off of the batters, while the relievers are in, or you wait until, the reliever comes in to make the save, and now he is sort of an all-star type player who can affect the game. That type of deal. So there's lots of different ways that you can play this, and I want to leave all of those opportunities in there for you to kind of mix and match the components and play the game that you want to play. That's a big part of what I do, and what the Clark and Addison Gaming Company is about, and has been about, and will be about in the future, is giving you a lot of choices about how you play the game. You can say, I want to keep this out, I want to put this in, I want to mix and match in these ways. I want to keep fielding, but I don't really want to do base running, so I have kind of a basic base running sort of thing. So lots of different ways that you can play my games, and hopefully that makes it interesting. It makes it customizable for you, and I think that's a big part of where these tabletop games are going to be in the future. Okie doke. That's it for me. I appreciate your time on watching this, and I'll continue to put videos out as this game develops and matures, and eventually you'll be able to play like a little demo of it, and then it'll be live and you can purchase it. So I hope you have a great day. It's Thursday as I'm recording this. We had tornadoes here in Chicago yesterday somewhere, or potential. They saw some funnels somewhere. So stay safe out there, and hopefully, you don't have any damage or anything like that if you're in the area or in the Midwest. But yeah, I appreciate everybody's support of me and the games that I make, and it's a little bit of a different take. And so I really appreciate those who are venturing out to try and to buy my games, and very appreciative. Okay, I think that's it for me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.